Hello, today I will show you how to assemble the belt dangler and attach it to the Sacki 3.0 knife. This video is going to be valid for the other belt danglers I'll be releasing as well, since the design and constructions are going to be very similar and assembly will pretty much be the same. There are two types of the dangler. One is using this aluminum locking carbiner from you can order on Amazon. This is going to be much easier to assemble, since this loop part here prints out in one piece. You just need to screw it on and attach it to the sheath. This was the first release. I decided not to use it for this knife, since the knife is quite expensive, and this locking part is held in by a tiny aluminum pin up here. Even if it breaks, you're probably still not going to lose it, since it can't just slip out. I have to work a little bit to get it in and out. All parts, you should probably print them in PETG. PLA is a bit brittle. This is PETG. I've also tried TPU. If you have harder TPU, it's probably okay, but I have a softer version here, and the weight of the knife makes everything here flex, and then it doesn't stay put. So if you have harder TPU, then yeah, go for it. Okay, just a quick information, you need to print a small TPU piece, or you should. It's not really required, but what this does, it goes around this metal rectangular loop, and it makes sure that it stays quiet. So this is already in here. It's hard to turn. Actually, it doesn't turn at all because a little bit, and it doesn't rattle, because without this part, when you're walking, you can constantly hear the plastic or metal sound, and it's just not nice. That's why I created this part. It's just something to squeeze together and then hold it tight. Okay, this is already my finished part. I will leave it like that, and I'll show you assembly on this. This one is actually printed in PLA. This is just what I use for development. Okay. What you should do, the way it works is, this little TPU piece wraps around the metal loop, and that needs to be put underneath this part right here. Since you're going to bend the plastic up quite a bit, this should be heated up a little bit. I've done it with the other parts. I heated it up to 60 degrees, which is okay for a PETG. PLA will probably get too soft if you do that, but I'll just use it since for the instruction video it's fine. Okay, so what you need to do when it comes out of the printer, just use something like a can opener from a Swiss Army knife and bend this up just a little bit, and then make sure that the TPU part wraps around the metal ring, and the opening should be towards the bottom. So this is where, so it squeezes around. Once this closes, it just squeezes the TPU part in. I found out that this direction is going to be the best way to do it. Okay, so just pry this open a little bit, slide it under, and then just carefully pull it through. So, click, and it's in. And that's all that needs to be done. Okay, so now you need the short screws. Part listing is going to be on printables. Link is going to be in the description below. And for me, make sure you get one of these flange screws. So the pressure is not going to be so high on the plastic part. Okay, just get this through here. And you can see it. I've designed it so it stays open a little bit, and with the screws we will pull everything tight. Currently it's still moving, freely moving. So let's just get this in here. And the other one. Okay, and for this part I would suggest using no, not, what are they called? Flange nuts. The same thing, flange screws and then flange nuts with those little locking indentations down below. It helps gripping the plastic. I'd also, if you assemble it for yourself, make sure, I would add red Loctite to the screws, so make sure they never open. There's no need to reopen them once you're done. Okay, just close it a little bit so it stays put. And at this point, I would suggest you can hand tighten them, but I will use a torque wrench, and this is set to 0.7 Newton meters, and this just ensures that you don't damage the plastic. And now we have exactly what we need. It can still move, but it's squeezed in with the GPU, and there's no rattling. It's nice and secure. Okay, now what do you need? Also, these are, you could use washers, but I've included these little pins. They go through the knife, and it just ensures the screws themselves won't go through the hole. The head is large enough that they don't go through, but this part just gives it a little more pressure, or distributes the pressure a little bit. So just push them in. They're a little tighter than what will happen when you print them new. It's just because I've used them previously. Okay, just screw those in here. Here. And just put the part on top. The washers in, and for this I use locking screws, locking nuts, sorry. And I'm going to tighten them to 0.7 Newton meters again, but on this part it's actually pretty easy. You just need to tighten the screws until you can see the screw right here on the top once it engages the locking part of the nut. And that's it. Ready attached. And now in the next part of the video, I will show you how you can make this piece of leather for the belt loop. Which will then just go through here, and that will then attach to your belt. Okay, next we need to make the leather loop. For this I'm using a leather strip about 220 millimeters long. This depends on how thick the belt loop on your rucksack is. Because what you want to do is once this is closed and you have your belt through here, and you have the rucksack belt loop, it's going to cover this, and then you have the knife below it. So 220 is a good starting point, but just make sure, give it a try before you cut it. I'm using a Jaeger L, a Grenzjäger rucksack, and 220 works for that. Then cut holes into the leather strip. The dimensions you also find on the printables page. And then we'll just put the push buttons through. I need another one. You can use the tool that comes with the kit. I just use the pliers. There's no difference. A couple more out. Need 2 sets. This. 1, 2. And this one here. There we go. Now, one thing I created is this part. You can also find this on printables. If you check my profile, I'll probably have it linked on the instruction page as well. The standard tool comes with this part, which works. It's not flat in here. It's made to support the button. So what happens is, if you use it with this flat disc, the flat disc will also get a little curve or a little bow in it. It probably won't show up on the camera, but I have detailed pictures on the printable site for this part. And this is not flat here. Now, it's usually not an issue, but it's kind of an issue with the 2.5 millimeters thick piece of leather, because these two parts, or both of these parts, these little nipples aren't really long enough. They do work, but it's a little more secure if you don't allow this part to bow out. This is just a metal washer in here, which makes sure that this stays flat, or as flat as possible. It's not a big deal, but it's a little nicer. It's wasted material on this side where you don't need it. Okay, so at this point, just like I said, use your tool. Just one thing you need to make sure is that you use them both in the same orientation. So buttons on one side, and it has to close like that. So make sure you use the outside of your leather to stay outside. Okay, so let's start with the button. Just goes through here, and make sure, like I said, I have the dimensions on the page, but make sure that the holes from both sides, that they line up, because once you're done, this has to close, and it will only properly close. Well, it's already closed when it lines up. Okay, so over here so you can see it. Okay, this goes on the outside. This tool. It's this one here, right? See, you can see it right here. It barely makes it through a piece of leather. Oh, there's a piece of leather in here as well. So really, every single bit counts, and this is where this comes in. But this is for the other part. We'll see in a minute. Okay, let's put this in here. And the first part, or for this loop, this is the tool that comes with it. Works fine. Just need a hammer for this, but I decided to get pliers since I've done a couple more. And this is a little bit easier. Okay, just push. This, and that's already secured. Okay, one more. And this and this. And then just take a look inside, make sure that is properly closed. There we go. That's the outside. Okay, the other goes from the inside through. Is this the right one? Yeah. Okay, and now I'm going to switch to tool. comes with a special release tool. Usually you get it out without. Let's see if this works better. No, not enough pressure. It's really in there. I'm going to use a little bit too much force, but I'd rather have these buttons on here secure. They don't slip out. There it is. Okay. That goes on like this. Good. Yeah, I don't know if it'll show up on camera. It's a little farther away. Yeah. This is more bowed out here, this is flatter. And that ensures that since this pin is sitting right here, it actually with the other tool it gets pushed back a little bit instead of securing it. Like I said, I'll post images on the page where you can get this part. These holes are a little bit too tight. There it is. Oh, mistake. Okay, let's see if I messed up. Nope, we're good. Now, as you can see, I've used this one for a couple of weeks. Probably 2 months now. Give it a little bit of time. Maybe warm it up a little bit and then slowly get your knife on it and then slowly push it down so you get that nice form. And I'm not an expert with leather, so I think you just need to do it slowly so it doesn't break or get any hard kinks. But then, yeah, after a while it becomes flexible and everything is good. So that's it. I wanted to add one more thing. The way you want to use it, put it through the belt loop. So that the opening is on the top. So this is no way, because if you have it the other way around, this could probably get in between and then pop the buttons open. So this down here, and then these buttons are going to be against your body, so there's no way for this to open. If you make sure that you don't have these metal pins right against your hip, because that's going to be a little uncomfortable, but you just slide it a little bit into the right direction. You will not feel it, it's not going to be painful. Or if you don't like this at all, instead of using buttons that you can open, just close it permanently, sew it, or different kind of fastening method. But I've never had any problems with this. I have a different Dangler, it's using pretty much the same setup, probably 2 years now, and it never opened. So